You're watching ESPN's Sonic Blockbuster. Welcome to Coleman Coliseum, a building that has been around hosting basketball since 1968. Today, the Kentucky Wildcats are in town to take on the 7th-ranked Alabama Crimson Tide. Things a little upside down as I'm joined by Jimmy Dykes. I'm Carl Ravitch. Usually this time of year, Alabama's playing for a football championship. And in this matchup, Kentucky's ranked and Alabama isn't. Third time since 2000 these two teams meet. Alabama's ranked and Kentucky is not. But Kentucky's playing a lot better. What do you expect?
Well, they are. Alabama has the best win in all of college basketball so far. Their true road win at Houston tells you they're a legitimate top 10 team. Kentucky trying to find their tracks a little bit. They've made improvement the last couple of ball games. If Kentucky wants to be a national contender again in that conversation, what a huge opportunity today on Alabama's floor.
Yeah, all sorts of stars on each side. Let's take a look at our Sonic Blockbuster key matchup. Talk about Oscar Shibwe and Brandon Miller, the freshman.
Yeah, Ravi, these two guys are phenomenal at what they do. What does Oscar Shibwe do? He starts the game basically with 10 rebounds, and you see how many he's going to get from there. He is as much of a load to handle that we've seen in a long time on the glass, and Brandon Miller leads all freshmen in scoring. This kid is smooth, man, at 6'9". You cannot let him get open threes. He shoots at about a 44% clip. He's long on the defensive end. He gets out in the open floor. He does a little bit of everything. His game translates to the next level really, really well. Enjoy him for the 1 year that he's in Tuscaloosa. Hard to guard, 24 in white, Brandon Miller.
A lot of people that you respect in the game liken his game to Kevin Durant's game. It's hard to get a bigger compliment, especially as a freshman. Shibwe will jump center for Kentucky. And the 7-footer, Bediako, controls the top for Alabama. Take a look at today's starting lineups, brought to you by Dove Plus Men Care. Alabama will go 10 deep. Bradley, outstanding as a freshman. Sears, a transfer. The alley-oop to start, and that will work. Bediako lays it up and in. Jimmy talked about Brandon Miller. Kentucky on the other side, their starting lineup. A little reliant is John Calipari on these five. He's really reduced his bench. Wheeler, Wallace, Toppin, Livingston, and Shibwe. Wallace is the freshman to watch this season for them. Shibwe goes into the paint, throws it up. He struggled last year against Bediako, and he misses his first.
Yeah, Ravi, to your point, the key for Bediako in checking Shibwe today, stay between him and the basket. I know that sounds simple, but make Oscar Shibwe at 6'8", who doesn't have a lot of lift, make shots over the top of Bediako.
Tshiebwe had been dealing with a knee injury all season. You can tell by the way he's played recently, it's getting better and better. Good defense by Miller on Livingston. Toppin's been hot the last couple of games, but that one's off the iron.
You've got to get Miller under control in transition. Good job by Kentucky to corral him early and not let him get in the paint.
They dump it down low. Bediako was too deep, and the foul on Wallace. Well, you can see, Jimmy, what Nate Oats is trying to do early. Establish 14 down low.
Kentucky doesn't have the length that Alabama does. And you get Kentucky caught in a switch, and that's a mismatch now with your two guarding five. And Bediako at 7 foot just shows a target hand, and that's two easy baskets for 14 in white for Roll Tide early.
You see Calipari there, lower right part of the screen. Is he explaining exactly what he went over in the shoot-around this morning to his team that they have failed to do the first two times?
It was very clear that you have to stay below Bediako when he rolls, because his length, Ravi, it's too much to handle for a Kentucky team right now. The ball pressure has to be intense. Kentucky's issues to me is not on the offensive end. I know Cal's getting hammered for his lack of offense. That's not a true statement. Kentucky defensively right now is where they have shortcomings.
Well, they've given up the first 4. Here's Wheeler, who's a traditional left-handed heavy point guard. Went to his right, got cut off, throws the floater up, and the ball kept alive by Shibwe.
That's where Kentucky can hang in this game on the offensive glass, and Nate Oats drilled his guys yesterday about the importance of it. If you don't want to rebound tomorrow, you don't want to win. We will find out.
Alabama scoring 83 a game, giving up 71. Wheeler, too strong. Another offensive rebound. Livingston had it ripped away by Sears. He'll push wide open, and a flush. What a start for the Tide. It's 6-0 on Clowney's flush. John Calipari trying to calm down the seas here in Alabama, and they are rolling. 30-second timeout.
Well, that Alabama run game is off early. Noah Clowney, a 6'10 freshman. Another long, lanky, sprinting dude in the open floor. Kentucky has to get their defense set in this ball game, or they could get run out of Coleman by a big margin. And Kentucky's half-court defense has let them down. They're 45th in the country in defensive efficiency. It all starts with their transition defense. And man, that talented freshman class for Nate Oats. Long, fast, athletic, very confident group for the number 7 team in the country.
Yeah, and for the most part, you know their offense. They're going to shoot threes or they're going to get shots at the rim. So far, the first 6 points have been at the rim. Wallace open three, and that's off. And a good box out that time, and another good rebound by Mark Sears, the junior out of Muscle Shoals, Alabama.
Yeah, the guards are scraping down and getting involved in the fight on the glass, which you have to do against Kentucky.
Bediako had it deep in the paint. It's another dunk.
Well, Kentucky's going to have to make an adjustment. You're going to have to get more ball pressure. You're going to have to trap quickly, because right now Bediako's off to a career afternoon. Way too easy of a start for Alabama's offense.
He's got 6, 3 of 3 from the floor. Shibwe down deep. Bediako, a wall down there. Crowd wanted a travel call, didn't get it, and another Alabama run out. And Bradley blocked that time. Toppin from the weak side.
Can Kentucky score off their run game?
Livingston in the paint, throws it up off the window, and finally Kentucky, almost 4 minutes into the game, scores their first bucket.
But a really forceful, determined drive by Livingston to get to the paint and get Kentucky off the schneid. Shibwe cannot come off of 14 in white, because if he does, that length becomes a jumping contest and 14 wins.
Sears kick all the way to the top, and the three for Noah Clowney, the freshman.
I know Brandon Miller gets all the hype, and rightfully so, but that cat right there can play with the best of them in college ball in that freshman class.
Alabama is 5 for 6 to start the game. Toppin, wild shot with the left. Shibwe trying to keep it alive. And it's going to be Alabama basketball as they get the first foul on Shibwe.
Alabama has set the rules, how this game's going to be played today. Well, one of the rules are going to hammer that ball inside, and Shibwe now defensively is being pushed in this ball game as he's going to take a seat, and now the length of Damian Collins checks in to hold off Bediako as well.
Yeah, so last year, remember, Damian Collins had a very good game here. He's into the game now, and we mentioned earlier, Shibwe really struggled against the size of Bediako, who's only getting better. Clowney, good move by Livingston to the baseline, contested by Collins. And here comes Wallace. Takes it to the rack, lays it up, no good. Wheeler is there for the follow.
Yeah, Wheeler's playing his best basketball as a Kentucky Wildcat. His shot numbers are up, his decisions are better. That assist to turnover ratio is starting to come down. Hustle play by Wheeler.
Miller hasn't taken a shot yet. And they'll start with 10 on the shot clock. Bradley into Wallace, and he drew the foul, and that's going to be the second foul, Jimmy, on Cason Wallace.
Bradley's such a physical guard. Got a little Marcus Smart in him. What's Alabama done? They've set the rules. We're going to hammer this thing inside and make Kentucky make an adjustment. Shibwe goes out, Collins comes in, but the ball is hot, the ball is moving, being sprayed around off of a paint touch, release, rotation, result for Roll Tide early.
5 of 7, and they're getting points at the rim and threes, and some frustration for that guy.
Well, it's frustration for Shibwe, but more importantly, it's a message being sent from that Kentucky coaching staff. You're not fighting. You're not competing defensively. Alabama is going to make Oscar Shibwe make decisions in ball screen defense. Not engaged, not fighting, not up on him, not making life difficult for Bediako. And Alabama sprints out to an 11-4 start, and Shibwe continues to sit.
Yeah, so he's on the bench. Wallace with 2 fouls is on the bench, and the free throw is up and good from Jaden Bradley, an outstanding impact freshman out of Rochester, New York at 6'3", 200. They got a couple of real signature victories this year. One of them was against Gonzaga. He had 18 in that game, and the second free throw goes down as well. And here comes Javon Quinterly. Handles the basketball about as well as anybody in the country. And again, it just speaks to the depth that Nate Oats has on this edition of the Alabama Crimson Tide team. Rylan Griffin, number 3, also into the game for Alabama. Antonio Reeves buried in the corner. They get 8 on the shot clock. And Wheeler's going to have to go down to 5 with Griffin on him. A little hesitation floater, and that's a nice play by Xavier Wheeler.
You're going to have to make some late clock shots against Alabama. Defensively, they're top 20 in the country with a lot of length. Make some hard guarded twos. Get your tail back and sit down and guard yourself right now if you're Kentucky.
Griffin, another one of Alabama's freshmen who's been able to come in, play significant minutes. And they're getting some guys back from injury. Miller launches. That one is off. And Reeves with a box out. Livingston, though, had it go off his fingers and out of bounds.
I will say this about Brandon Miller today. He's being guarded by a legitimate pro athlete in Toppin. Similar size, explosive, fast. This is a matchup now that scouts in the building want to see. What does Miller do against a similar sized athlete like Jacob Toppin? Pinned down for Miller, and Toppin just all over it.
And Griffin had no chance. Not only did Reeves play good defense, but Collins, who in the limited time he's been on the floor, been very active and disruptive down in that paint. 13-6, 14 to go first half. Alabama came out on fire. And Quinterly got to get it in, and he did. That ball is deflected away with 5 on the shot clock. Noah Gurley, Clowney. No good. That'll be Kentucky basketball. Went off of Rylan Griffin's hand.
I think it's the right call. I think that white jersey hand was the deciding factor in knocking it out. Where does Kentucky go for their offense? I've talked about their defensive problems. At times they can get stuck in the half court. Harder cuts, tougher but determined drives would be a big help.
Yeah, Reeves a little too strong off the window, and Alabama rebounds. Quinterly's got some numbers. Nice look down low, and Livingston just grabbed him. And that'll be 2 free throws for Noah Clowney.
Ravi, there are some musts when you're on the road. One of them, you cannot get outran in transition defense. Transition defense is a sprinting, talking, pointing game. Kentucky has come up empty twice in that area.
Our coach Seth Greenberg will be part of our halftime report. Told me on the drive last night from Atlanta, he's like, Ravi, one of the things you got to watch with Kentucky, they got to get back, which you just talked about. Then they got to play defense when they get back. And Reeves accomplished one of the 2. By Livingston, I should say, before he fouled the shooter. Big game highlights our January schedule. How we doing here? NFL Week 18 season. A doubleheader today on ESPN. 4:15, Raiders and Chiefs. Kansas City looking for the #1 seed. Titans, Jags, the winner takes the AFC South. ABC at 2 tomorrow. FCS championship game. That's North Dakota State and the #1 seed, South Dakota State. Monday night, 7:30. Of course, the national championship game presented by AT&T. It's TCU and the defending champion Georgia. Coverage is on every platform, TV, radio, and digital.
Shibwe continues to sit. Calipari has shown no body language that says, I desperately need to get you back in the game. Sending a strong message to the former National Player of the Year.
Adu Fierro also into the game. That's an alley-oop, and this is why Shibwe's on the bench. Collins has been much more active.
Just the value of getting the ball on the rim in a game like this is so important.
Griffin launched it. He looked for a foul. Toppin with the rebound. Little different feel to the game right now. As Wheeler tried to push, he was cut off.
Well, good job by Bama to clamp down on both elbow touches by Kentucky. Wheeler tried to win the elbow early, and Bama would have no part of it.
There's going to be a foul called. I think it's on the baseline. They're going to call it on Griffin.
Here's what I'm talking about. Wheeler, you let him get to his left, he's going to get a shot off. And Collins, the length of Collins, he's 6'10", and can jump out of the gym. That's an easy cleanup. The rotation can't come down quick enough off of what was pretty much a straight line drive. Kentucky on the glass. That's where the game's decided.
John Calipari last couple of games has really shrunk his bench, and he has changed dramatically in this game. Offensive rebound, Thiero. That one is blocked inside. Noah Gurley got a hand on it. It'll stay Kentucky ball.
But don't you like the determination of Severe Wheeler going down that left side of the lane? The lane is 12 feet wide, and he's finding that 12-foot mark in the last couple of possessions.
The starters, Shibwe, Wallace, Livingston, all on the bench for Kentucky. Wallace, 2 fouls.
Well, the guys that he put in are playing harder.
No doubt about it.
It's an easy call to make as a head coach.
Reeves launches a 3. That's good. Boy, Kentucky right back in the game, down by 3. Bama hasn't had a field goal in the last 4 minutes after starting 4 for 4.
Just a simple floppy action for Reeves to run off of, and
good
really
hands,
well done.
And we got a run out. Reeves was ahead of the field. Wheeler now has it. And he will turn it around and slow it up. Reeves again, quick release. That one is way off to the right and out of bounds. Oscar Shibwe is set to come back in for Kentucky.
Kentucky's last 3 comes off of what everyone in college ball calls floppy action. The shooter can go off of either side. This time he comes off of Toppin. Catch square, he gets behind the ball and steps into it just a little bit, and Cal says, yes, where's my fight? It came from my subs right now. Don't count Kentucky out yet. Well, where's the appetite from Oscar Shibwe? That's the question that Cal probably has asked him, maybe in a different form, but right now, that face-to-face in-huddle conversation, how will it translate to the floor now with Shibwe back in? Your best player has got to be your best player in big games, and there's no doubt about it. That's Oscar Shibwe for Kentucky. They can't win the game if Shibwe is not engaged. And it's interesting, Oscar Shibwe has played 46 games as a Kentucky Wildcat. No opposing player, not one, has ever out-rebounded Oscar Shibwe. He's got to get that motor going to keep that streak intact right now. The look on his face looks like the message has been received. We shall see.
Yeah, 0 for 2, no rebounds for Shibwe, the returning player of the year in the country, who leads the SEC in field goal percentage and rebounds per game.
The problem he still has, the guy guarding is about 4 inches taller and longer. That has been Oscar's struggle point his entire career.
That's Bediako. He rolled, and there's the alley-oop right to him, right back in the game. And an alley-oop, and Cal's going to his bench. We'll see who he's going to take out after that move.
It's going to be Oscar Shibwe. You cannot allow Bediako to get below you on ball screen defense. Making Shibwe make ball screen decisions, Nate Oats has gone right at it.
Shibwe picked up his dribble. Ugana Onyenso is set to step in as Wheeler gets stuck, and then he left his feet. Shibwe picked it up, brought the ball down, and he lost it. Frustration for 34. 3 ball, too strong. Bediako went for it. Oscar Shibwe picks it up.
Cal told us today that he has cut his offensive playlist maybe in half for this one. Once his guys freed up, making more plays than running plays. And who are your playmakers? 2 in blue with, I love the Kentucky uniforms today, as your primary starter.
Reeves, the drive, and he will get fouled and go to the free throw line and put up 2. All right, Jimmy, who do you got? Monday night, TCU, Georgia, defending champs, the College Football Playoff National Championship game. It's presented by AT&T. It starts at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on ESPN.
I can tell you what I think, but I've gone to the resource of all resources for my pick on this one. Dogs, no dogs. And back home, this is what we're going with. My man Rocket picks Georgia, and his sister, Rue, goes Georgia as well. Dogs, no dogs, Ravi.
No, I hear you.
And it is all dogs, all Georgia. in our household.
Good for you, and really good for you that Rue has been found. I know that there was a missing dog alert out on Rue, but
we
appears
got
to be
lost
back
in the Christmas tree for 3 days, but she's back, and they are all in on the Georgia Bulldogs.
And you don't have any frogs in your house, so you're going to go dogs. I understand what you're saying. That ball's deflected by Fierro. Onyenso is in. Shibwe is back on the bench.
I mean, if you don't want to play ball screen defense today with Shibwe, just let him sit and watch. Really interesting development between Cal and Oscar right now, and Cal is correct in what he's doing.
Yeah, tough three, and Sears with a rebound. Here's Miller. Good job by Fierro to cut him off, and now they got him trapped in the corner. And he called a timeout. Good job by Toppin and Fierro, who is getting some minutes for Calipari tonight.
Miller's going to have to fight in this game. Kentucky is not backing down from that freshman right now that leads the country in scoring.
Welcome back. Hope you're enjoying your Saturday. You were watching the SEC on ESPN in a blockbuster game. Kentucky probably needs to win a lot more than Alabama does right now. And if they are able to come back, get a lead, and hang on the road, would be back into that conversation as a team that can, along with Alabama, Arkansas, Tennessee, win the SEC.
Absolutely they can. Cal told his guys earlier this week, you and I had the game in Lexington, he said, we're the best team still in the SEC. Have not put it all together yet. A win today grabs everybody's attention.
Miller pull up after that screen. He picks up his own rebound, lost it out of bounds, so he is continuing to struggle. And Alabama's won for their last 9.
You got Brandon Miller now not shooting clean threes, forcing into that mid-range game, which he has, but he does have to get better and more physical finishing at the rim, making plays through contact. A lot of points scored by this kid, but not in this game. Kentucky with the athletes and the length to match up with him so far.
Onyenso's getting about 3.5 minutes a game. They had an alley-oop for him, but instead the runner drops, and it's a 1-point game. Kentucky, after seeing Alabama come out 5 for 6, has now seen them go 1 for 9, and it is tight. Miller, the left hand. That's no good. And that's, saved by mistake. Reeves, that ball was out against Alabama. He went and saved it. And now it's still going to be Alabama basketball. Off Toppin. 2 chances Kentucky had there to have the basketball, and they missed them both. Now it looks like they're going to give it to Kentucky.
I will say this, when Shibwe went out, the energy and the fight level of Kentucky went up.
Sure did.
And it continues to be that the second time that Oscar is on the bench. A strong message being sent to 34 in blue. They will need him at some point in this game, but it's got to be the good version of Oscar.
Yeah, Onyenso took a heavy hit. It was Nick Pringle who's into the game, the 6'9" junior. Got him with a chest, and that led Onyenso to walk. You're right, Jimmy. For all the NBA scouts here, they got to be impressed with the way Toppin is handling Miller.
Absolutely.
Onyenso is a block machine. Miller straight away. That's way short.
Got him rushed a little bit. Toppin is into the head of Brandon Miller, I think, so far in this game.
Wheeler saw a lane. Toppin's down below, and that's deflected out of bounds. It'll stay with Kentucky. Talk about the 2 styles here. So Alabama loves to shoot the 3 and get to the rim. Where's Kentucky at offensively?
Well, they have backed it down and taken their foot off the gas the last couple of ball games. Cal says we're playing more deliberate. They're getting to that 3rd or 4th pass. Their assist rate has gone up. They've slowed the game down, and they've scored more points because of it.
Toppin baseline jumper. That's no good. He's struggling from the field to start this one.
But he can't be offensive sensitive. He's got to keep guarding his tail off on 24 in white.
That's going to be a walk. A little shuffle on the feet of Mark Sears. Turnover for Alabama. Well, roll tide has been slow tide. And Kentucky's back in it. 16-15, 8 to go.
Jacob Toppin offensively has got to get going, Ravi. He's 0 for 4. He struggled during the month of December, and then Cal pulled him in and said, listen, you're my guy. I've got to have you playing at a high level. And boy, the last 2 ball games, he has taken over, leading Kentucky with 22-point average. He's 0 for 4 in this game. And we talked with him after the game Tuesday night. He talked about how mentally sometimes he can go off course. He can't in this game. I know he's 0 for 4, but Kentucky needs his offense. They need him to stay aggressive. He's taken good looks. They have not dropped. But more importantly, defensively, he's really a factor right now for Kentucky on the road. Checking 24, Brandon Miller.
For Alabama, Clowney and Bediako are 6 of 8 from the field. The rest of the team is 0 for 9 and still no Shibwe. As John Calipari is sending a very loud message to the player of the year. Yeah, again, Shibwe's numbers, Jimmy, just for those that are just tuning in. He has struggled from the field, hasn't made a shot. He's been beaten defensively a couple of times, 0 for 2, and he's got 1 rebound. Toppin one-on-one, backing his man down, gets an elbow into the chest and still comes up short.
That's okay. I like the play call by Cal. Trying to get Toppin going in this game offensively. He was tough, he was determined, just didn't get the drop.
Mark Sears and Onyenso sent it back, but he's going to go to the free throw line. Talk a little bit about the veteran and freshman-laden team that Nate Oats has here at Alabama. I mean, usually you focus on Kentucky. They're a lot older, given the guys they're playing, than Alabama is.
Well, he's got a beautiful blend, Nate Oats does, of that freshman class, which is outstanding. And then a guy like Sears, who Ohio transfer, he had 24 in their win against North Carolina this year. This kid can really shoot the ball. 42% from 3, a little bit of a forward jumper, but he's scoring guard that can play on ball and off ball. And an older kid, to your point, a nice mixture that Nate Oats has right now on his roster. This is that same floppy action for Reeves to run off of either side.
And that is thrown over the head of Wheeler, and it's going to be a turnover. Reeves. 3rd turnover of the game for Kentucky. All right, let me get you inside the head of Cal. When does he say to Oscar, are you ready to try? When is that moment?
I think right now, when it's a 3-point game and Onyenso and Collins have been better ball screen defenders, I'm not sure there's an urgency to bring him back in. He may ride this thing to half, Ravi.
Sears, the lefty, pulls up, no good. Good crash by Bediako, but it's Reeves who comes away with it. Chance for Kentucky with a 3 to tie.
Reeves is not a ball screen guard. Wheeler can get downhill off of it. This possession has been stuck.
Alabama's defense this year is so much better. Reeves off the front of the iron.
Ones you got to make. I mean, good action.
Miller right into Onyenso, and that's on body control, and he knocks down his first of the game.
A physical, strong drive by Miller. That's not his strength. He's going to have to continue to grow in that area, but I like how he took the ball with force to the rim, right through the chest.
Toppin, that's his shot inside that lane because he jumped so high, but it was off the mark. Here comes Alabama.
Offensive.
Bradley called offensive. Don Daly was right on it. So was Jimmy Dykes.
Really good job by Wheeler to sprint and then find ball. And I'm talking about with Miller. Catch it, rip, 1 big dribble, 2 big dribbles, and long stride yourself to the front of the rim. He's a thin kid. He's not like Jabari Smith was last year at Auburn, that was more physical. And there's that last play that Wheeler gets the benefit of the call, but I love the heart of Wheeler to sprint and give his team a chance.
Let's see where we're at. 5:50 in the first. Shibwe back into the game. Adu Thiero back into the game as well for Kentucky. They get it down low, and he went right up with it. May have been blocked by Bediako. Boy, and Shibwe, his hand got Bediako in the face inadvertently as they came down. It is amazing, Jimmy. As soon as 34 and blue's on the floor, the mindset of Alabama is we're going down low. We're getting into 14.
Yeah, they are going to make Oscar run. They're going to put in ball screen defense and make his ball screen decisions tested. And the length again of Bediako took away what was an automatic 2 for Shibwe.
Wheeler.
Good. Yeah, he's playing like a point guard that can get Kentucky to the Final Four. Was not sold on him in October and November, the ability to do it. He's answering a lot of questions right now the last couple of games.
Couple of assists, no turnovers, 6 points. Javon Quinterly, that's off to the left and short. Yeah, a little more deliberate style to this game than Alabama would like. And Wheeler, the floater, it goes. What a game for Sophia Wheeler. He's up to 8.
Alabama cannot keep Wheeler out of the paint. That has to be eating right now at Nate Oats. Boy, Toppin just blowing up that dribble handoff for Miller, not letting him get space.
And forced him into a turnover.
You got a pro on you today, Brandon.
Fierro lost the basketball, and big-time numbers now for Alabama. Sears will pick up the foul. But he is terrific on defense. Fierro had it. Get a foul on Wheeler.
There's that high-low action that Toppin and Tshiebwe have been so good at the last 3 or 4 ball games, but the length of Bediako erases it. But I like the heart. I like the give back by Oscar to sprint and get a deflection. Kentucky hanging in there with 34 in blue being, he's not a non-factor, he's a bad factor so far for Kentucky. It can change.
They gave that foul instead to Jacob Toppin, not on Wheeler. Sears missed the first. Averaging about 15 a game. And a near 80% free throw shooter.
Ravi, these are the kind of games that pro scouts that are in the building, they love seeing what's going on with Toppin and Brandon Miller.
Yeah.
What does this guy do when it doesn't go his way early in the game? He's got an equal-sized athlete on him. There will be some questions answered one way or the other for 24 and white today. I love the kid. It's a big moment for him and an opportunity to grow up right now within this game.
Try to feed Shibwe. Livingston can shoot it. They go down low. The left hand, that's blocked.
Yeah.
Boy, Bediako is having a field day against the player of the year. Clowney. Oh, they're going to call it on Toppin, and clearly that was initiated anyway by the shoulder of Clowney. Let's hope Toppin's okay. A little slow here, and he's still not moving. He's suggesting he's limping a little bit as he goes to the bench.
Maybe that 7-foot length of Bediako with a 7'6" wingspan causing Oscar Shibwe all kinds of problems in this game.
And what we're doing, the tempo's where we want it. Now the big question is Jacob Toppin going to be able to play? Because he's done a great job on Miller.
Very good question. He was rubbing that right ankle of his. There didn't appear to be anything significant, but clearly he was in pain. He is back up and walking around without any assistance, which is a good sign.
It's like he jammed that right heel kind of awkwardly. It wasn't a roll. We looked at it several times. It wasn't a roll like an ankle sprain. And they did a thorough check of that lower right leg, and he seems to be okay. Not checked in yet, but man, that would be a big hit to Kentucky on the defensive end of the floor in this game.
All right, so Clowney will shoot the 1-on-1 up 21-19. Free throw, no good. I mean, you're 0 for 10 between Shibwe and Toppin. Oscar's got 1 rebound, and you're down 2.
Yeah, on the road against the 7th-ranked team in the country.
Livingston, good hands, that done by Sears, and here's Clowney. And he will get hit.
That was a freshman drive by Livingston, not an SEC on the road drive by Livingston. And there is a difference. He went in a little bit soft, didn't trap that basketball before he went up, and the hot hands of Alabama have it going the other way. That's what I'm talking about. This is the high school drive. This is not an SEC on the road drive. And right there just opens up a little bit. The slap comes down. Maybe there's contact, maybe there wasn't. Can't cough the ball up in front of the rim on the road.
Fierro, foul was on 3 in blue. Clowney again now for 2, and that one is stroked in.
And Cal is going to give Livingston a similar message. It's just part of the growth. It's part of being on the road in conference play, learning what it's like to drive through contact and make plays through it.
Connie can improve on the free throw shooting, just 56%. He knocks those two down. And Alabama's lead grows to 4 with 3:30 to go. Onyensu on the floor for Kentucky. Tshiebwe back on the bench.
It feels like just sprint out ball screen for Kentucky on this possession, or just one-on-one. There it is.
Foul on Javon Quinterly. The college road Javon Quinterly has traveled, Jimmy.
The tough road by Quinterly?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, he's been through it, hasn't he? A couple of transfers and finds his footing here at Alabama. The ACL injury last year in the NCAA tournament. But a phenomenal big Valentine for Quinterly to fight his way back through rehab and already be playing this year. Really something special.
And Nate Oats has said he's accepted the role and in fact is mentoring the new guys here at Alabama. 10 on the shot clock and Wheeler gets it out high. Step back. No good for Wheeler, and Miller with a clear.
Again, get control of the ball with Miller bringing it up. And if the arrow never does,
watch out.
There's the result.
Just missed it on Yenso. Picks up kind of a touch foul. Miller looked like he was amped up to throw it down hard, but then he realized I got the 7-footer in front of me, and he'll go to the free throw line.
Miller is not going to give this ball up when he gets the defensive board. He is a board and bring it guy. And if you can't corral him and get him under control, he is dog determined to get that thing to the front of the rim. I love the aggressiveness and the force that he's bringing it with in the open floor.
Averaging just under 20. You can see the rotation on his shot. Shibwe is inserted back into the game. Miller picks up his third.
And Nate Oats will put Oscar Shibwe in ball screen defense the very first possession that he can, because Oscar Shibwe has swung and missed on it every time so far.
Miller hit a 45-footer the other night. Looked like it was a routine jump shot, and the 6-point lead now, largest of the game. Miller, Reeves, no chance. Loose ball. Possession arrow to Kentucky.
Really good switch out by Alabama. They switched on time and they switched up the floor, not allowing a Kentucky guard to get it off of the switch or the handoff and get downhill. And Kentucky now with a short clock, Ravi, to work with.
5 seconds. Said largest lead. Largest lead was earlier when it was 13-4. They pushed it back up to 6. This is where, if Toppin were in, you'd oftentimes see some lob to him, but he's obviously not in the game. Collins not an option on that. And Wheeler, tough shot. That's the short clock, Jimmy. That's what happens, and it was not a good shot for Xavier Wheeler.
Yeah, Wheeler, as good as he is in short clock and on a crowded floor, because he's only 5'10", man, he takes just forced to take a hard, tough two. Now Kentucky's defense is really going to be tested. They are the 6th best defense in the SEC. Can they get key stops on the road? We're about to find out these last 2 minutes of the first half.
Quinterly, easy step through right by Reeves.
You just wonder how much Kentucky wants to hold on to that defensive rope. They've been good so far, but starting to slip a little bit now late in the first half.
Reeves found a lane. That one is blocked. The hand is up, though. We're going to get a foul against Alabama. Bediako is making life real hard on any Wildcat at the rim.
Well, that last basket by Alabama is a warning sign to Kentucky. A straight line drive. They got that Alabama guard to the right side of the rim. Kentucky's offense is not the issue for them going forward. I know they got 19 points, but they're shooting a 3 ball at a 39% clip. They're getting on the offensive glass. Defensively, they got to hang in this game right now.
Bediako's foul was his first, Jimmy.
Reeves fell into the back of that ankle, didn't he? Bediako.
Kentucky season-long free throw struggles continue right there, but Reeves couldn't make a free throw, but he knocks down a 3-ball.
And if you don't big boy box off against Kentucky, they get a hand on it, slap that thing around. I love the quick decision by Reeves to miss 2, but then let it fly on the next catch.
Foul's going to be against Reeves. He and Collins communicate. Collins said, straight up with your hands, and Reeves looked at him and said, that's just what I did.
I love the toughness of Reeves. To miss free throws like he did. Now watch. Missed it. Doesn't drop his head. Catch it. Stick it. Yeah, that's good stuff by Antonio Reeves, a guy that can score a lot of points if he can get on a roll. But that was toughness and confidence by Reeves that we have not seen a lot of this year.
More comfortable shooting threes than he is
free throws. Yeah, he is, yeah.
Quinterly with Alabama shooting 2 now. This is the team that scores 83 points a game. With $1:20 left, they're sitting on 28. Quinterly knocks him down.
Shibwe still 0 for 4 in this game. So the normal play calls that Cal goes to for Shibwe, they're not working because of the length that he's having to shoot over.
Yeah, Wheeler's been really the guy keeping him in this game. 29-24, Safia Wheeler into double figures.
You get a ball screen by Shibwe on Wheeler. And Shibwe guy is in drop coverage, and Wheeler just reads it really well, surveys the play, sticks that jump shot.
Quinterly, Miller, he will launch. That one looked a lot better. Fierro is late getting out.
You cannot give him room. And I will say this, Brandon Miller has to have room. That is a low release shot that has a little bit of concern for some NBA scouts. It's not that high release that you typically love.
Miller's got 7. Tshiebwe working real hard to establish position down low, and Bediako gets him out of there.
Feels like a big possession, doesn't it, for Kentucky?
And Reeves looking around, gets it in the hands of the point guard Wheeler. To his left, the kick. Collins. No good. Shibwe offensive rebound, and he had it picked. Here's Quinterly. Pretty play and a chance for a 3-point play. Javon Quinterly. That's just savvy, Jimmy. He used the backboard, the basket, and a defender to convert it.
That closeout possession by Kentucky is huge. They get the miss and then the run out by Quinterly. And this is a kid that's wired to score his entire life. And his ability to battle back from injury. He has a lot of big game SEC experience. And a huge closeout play by Alabama with 13 to go in this first half.
Such a unique weapon off the bench. Somebody with this much experience. And he absorbed the contact from Collins. And Quinterly knocks down the free throw. 35-24. Last shot for Kentucky in what has been a miserable first half.
Probably a ball screen for Wheeler. Either Collins or Shibwe, either one. Let him turn the corner.
Wheeler, another turnover. And that will not count as they get it off after the buzzer. Listen to the place go crazy for Alabama. What a statement in the first half. We'll have to check to see the last time Oscar Shibwe didn't score a point. And the Kentucky coaching staff got into it with Don Daly on their way to the locker room. Alabama shoots 44%. Fast start, fast finish. Kevin Connors is in our studio. You're watching ESPN's Sonic Blockbuster back here in Alabama. Been a busy half for that guy, the head football coach here of the Crimson Tide, Nick Saban, off the Sugar Bowl win over Kansas State. Here in row 1, enjoying what he saw in the first half. Alabama 35, Kentucky 24. You love defense when she does. They did a hell of a job on this guy.
Yeah, they did. And Oscar Shibwe, I mean, he got taken out of the game because his ball screen defense just non-existent, not plugged into what Kentucky wanted to do. And he allowed time and time again for Bediako to get behind him. Now the length of Bediako is a real factor in this game, kind of exposing why Oscar Shibwe is still in college. Phenomenal college player, but 7 foot is hard for him to handle. This kid has been special. Time and time again, Ravi, he's made plays over the top of Kentucky, and it's not just been Shibwe. They got a mismatch. They go right to him early. Alabama set the rules of the game in the first couple of minutes. We're going to go right at you around the rim. And the aggressive team has been Alabama. The result, 17 free throw attempts for Alabama.
Yeah,
only 4 for Kentucky. That's a big part of it.
No doubt about it. Toppin went out with that ankle injury. It looks like Jacob Toppin is going to be back on the floor to start. And look, the game changed when he went out too. I mean, Miller started to be a little more assertive, so he's back in the game. It's been an odd game with the run that Alabama had. Then all of a sudden it was 2-4. And here it says, they opened on a 13-4 run. They closed on a big run.
Well, they did that last 2 minutes was all about Alabama. Nick Saban would have loved that 2-minute offense. Here's the biggest issue for Kentucky right now. Toppin, Oscar, and Case and Wallace, your 3 leading scorers, have combined for no points in this game. Right. No points on the road against the top 10 team, and they're still within 11.
We're ready for the second half of our Sonic blockbuster matchup. Inbounds to Alabama.
Alabama is the real deal. Talked about in the open. They own Alabama, the best win in all of college ball so far this year. Their true road win at Houston.
The alley-oop, and Bediako. That time Shibwe blocked it. He comes back and misses. And a little better defense by Shibwe and Kentucky on Bediako. Wheeler was the story of the first half. He and Reeves each had 10. So they had 20 of the 24 points. Shibwe there, he rips down the offensive rebound. Kentucky's gonna have to make outside shots because it's easy for them to collapse on Shibwe if nobody's gonna hit from the outside.
Yeah, and Alabama knows it as well. And look at those Alabama defenders. They are staying inside that 3-point line. Good hard ball pressure. Alabama, Ravi, top 20 both offense and defensive efficiency. They're the real deal.
Good take there, right into the face of Oscar Shibwe, and that's Jaden Bradley, the freshman.
He is Alabama's best paint touch guard. He gets into the red part of the floor more than anyone else that Nate Oats puts in the game.
13-point lead for Alabama. And I tell you what, they bring that ball down, and Alabama's hands are all over it. Calipari's hands just went to his head, and he sat down. Frustrated the way things are going. They have 2 on the shot clock. Toppin does get it off, and he knocks it down. They'll take a look at it, but it looked from here like he got it off before the shot clock went off. We'll see.
Well, really good job by Toppin to sprint out of that in possession and get his feet set and let it fly. I'm with you. Watching it live, I thought it was off his hands before that shot clock hit zeros. Kentucky has to get Jacob Toppin going offensively. He has been tremendous on the defensive end. Look at the bottom and left right there. 3-2. Toppin gets it with urgency. Oh, yeah.
Well, those are Jacob Toppin's first points of the game, now 1 for 7. He is a streaky player. When he goes, he really goes, and perhaps that's a way to get him going. Interesting, the development of Charles Bediako under Nate Oats.
Well, he's gained 15, 20 pounds since last year. Good hands by Case and Wallace.
That's going to be Kentucky basketball, sure was. A little lackadaisical effort from Alabama offensively there.
Nate Oats won't let this thing go too long before he calls a timeout and gets in his guys' grill.
Livingston, hard cut, throws it high up. Shibwe was there. He ends up on the ground as Clowney was battling him. We talked about the length during the halftime report with Bediako and Clowney. And Wheeler has 5 into the paint. Wallace has to fire. No good. Shibwe had it, Well, Oscar Shibwe has been on the ground more this game than perhaps in the prior games this season.
Well, they are attacking Alabama, Oscar Shibwe on any rebound. Active hands around 34 and blue every time, making life difficult.
Toppin, way short. Sears, good defense. He had Bediako. He didn't handle it well. Then he throws it up, and it's off the iron. He'll go and shoot 2.
We talked about it Tuesday night against Oscar Shibwe. You have to run with Shibwe, and you have to compete with Shibwe. And Alabama has checked both of those so far in this game. Making him play in a crowd, making sure they have body contact on him at all times, not letting him get angles. One of the biggest struggles I've seen Oscar Shibwe have in his time in a Kentucky uniform.
No doubt about it. Shibwe, the foul. Bediako, the free throw. For the most part, Brandon Miller's been held in check.
What's a sign of a really good team? Think about this. Alabama won at Houston. And Brandon Miller didn't make a shot in the ball game other than free throws.
That's a 3 off a missed free throw. That's the way it's going for Alabama right now. Nate Oats telling the crowd to get on their feet. Sears knocked it down, 41-27. Wallace steps into a 3. That's no good. Livingston the rebound. Wheeler will try. No good. Shibwe is there, and that is ripped away by Clowney. Sears into the body of Oscar Shibwe. What a play by Mark Sears. Got the last 5, and he's got 8 overall.
Sears can flat out score, Ravi. You've seen the 3 ball. He's shooting it at 42%. He is a physical, tough kid, transferring up a level, and his entire game has gone up a level as well.
Alabama's got its foot on the pedal. Shot up, no good. Toppin brought it down the hands of Alabama. Big story. Livingston, 3. No good. Sears had it. They're going to get a foul against Kentucky, and it is all Alabama.
Yeah, to your point, Alabama quicker to the ball. Coleman Coliseum starting to come to life. And as I talked about with Sears, man, he shoots a really good ball going to his left with that left paw. The quickness of Alabama and the length of Alabama has been hard to handle for Kentucky all afternoon long. Sears can knock down a 3 right at the chest of Shibwe with a finish. Roll Tide right now.
Welcome back. We're in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and you are watching the SEC on ESPN. It has been all Alabama today, 43-27. Longtime Kentucky coach John Calipari, Nate Oats. How about his second year, 26-7, won the regular season and conference championships. And of course, Texas just let go of Chris Beard. These 2 guys' names have already been mentioned in that Texas coaching search. What do you think about those 2 names, and are there any others on that list you would consider? And what is the Texas basketball job?
I think the Texas basketball job is a good job, not a great job. It's a good job. The state of Texas is producing a ton of talent, but it's not a job that you just drop anything you have and run to. The first call I would make would be to Nate Oats.
It would.
I mean, he's the young, aggressive, the offensive mind that he has right now. I mean, he has built Alabama into a situation where the basketball team's ranked higher than the football team. That's all you got to put on your resume. And he's that good. And but there will be a lot of names involved, but I'm not so sure. My first call wouldn't be to Nate Oats.
Now, Jay Wright's another name that gets
I don't see him doing
tossed
it.
around. What a play there. How about Sears taking over the game offensively?
Brad, if you can't guard the ball, you can't win the game. It's as simple as that. And Alabama's ability pretty much to guard the ball today has ultimately guarded Oscar Shibwe, because the offensive rebound opportunities are not there for Shibwe on the floor.
18-point cushion. You don't think Wright is the right fit, if you would, for him?
No, I think he's a great fit. I just don't think that he's.
Yeah.
I think Jay Wright, if he gets back in, is at the pro level. Could be wrong.
Bradley in a lane. He throws it up softly, and that goes, and everything is going for Alabama. Their lead is 20.
There was not much fight in Kentucky's transition defense on that play. Man, this Alabama team, a lot of length defensively. They switch up high. They make life miserable for you in the paint.
Yeah, Wallace misses a three, and look at the box out. 3 Alabama shirts on Jacob Toppin. There is no Shibwe on the floor, and Sears is feeling everything, and that one does not fall.
Many people say this is maybe the most talented Alabama basketball team that they've seen in the past 20 years. And a guy like Sears transferring in, I mean, he is so good, strong and low with the ball, can make difficult layups on both sides with both hands. And there's that transition defense I talked about. Kentucky non-existent. The initial push got the ball all the way to the right side of the rim. And Roll Tide is doing that.
Well, we talked about at the top, Jimmy, how important this game was, probably more so for Oscar Tshiebwe in Kentucky than Alabama. That being said, Alabama looks like it's on its way to a win. How demoralizing, how big a step back is this for Kentucky?
It's going to feel like major steps back, and I think it is, because they had a feel-right game and a get-right game against Louisville, who's awful defensively. So everything they ran in that game worked. But they were better. You and I were there Tuesday night and we're up against LSU, who's a top 30, 40 defensive team themselves. But so far today, Alabama has snuffed out all the actions. Kentucky guards are taking a lot of tough twos like Reeves just hit right there.
2 for their last 11 on shots at the rim. Layups for Kentucky, and that does speak to the size of Clowney, Bediako. Sears, no that time, and Collins with the rebound. So Shibwe and Collins on the floor at the same time, and that time underneath, Bediako was wrestling with Shibwe, and they're going to call it on Bediako. Easy to look at the fouls and the free throw discrepancy. Is there a reason that it's that way? Do you see that Alabama's been more aggressive going to the basket?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. We talked about they're the faster team to the ball. And they have been the aggressor on both ends for the most part. Revy, I'll say this from a coaching standpoint. What you begin the game talking about and emphasizing better be the things you're emphasizing and talking about to close out a game.
Yeah.
And Alabama hammered it yesterday on the glass. No transition plays by Kentucky. And they have checked both those boxes the entire game so far.
Alabama's taken 21 free throws. They've made 15. Kentucky's taken 4, and they've made 2. Not a turnover, a foul on Alabama underneath with the grab. This team's worked so hard on entry passes and making sure that the player who's receiving it is sealing his guy, and then the emphasis on how crisp the pass is, avoiding any deflections. And oftentimes it's not the guy throwing the pass or receiving it, it's somebody else that the coach will look at on a turnover. Shibwe, loose handoff. Quinterly with a steal. Shibwe chases. He does get a hand on it. And Reeves picks it up.
I mean, there's nobody on the floor that's a threat in transition to drag the defense off of Shibwe. Alabama can just continue to run to the paint all afternoon long.
Bounce pass and a good one. Brandon Miller on the other end. Nate Oats is flexing and pumping his fists on the sideline as Coleman comes to its feet.
Really, Brandon Miller, the highest scoring freshman in the country. He's been held in check a little bit today, but you can just see glimpses of explosiveness and full sprint speed by a 6'9" athlete. Got a lot of stuff to work with, as does Nate Oats and this entire Alabama team.
Nick Saban, of course, the leader of Alabama. He's likely to watch the college football championship, you can check out the SEC network. Georgia will be covered all day Monday, before, during, and after the college football playoff national championship game presented by AT&T. The pregame will start, Jimmy, 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 Central. Pre-game, 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 Central. Then you watch the game. Scott Howard, Georgia's radio team, wrap up the unforgettable day with a football final. All the highlights, interviews, and a complete game breakdown. That's Monday. Georgia fans, lock into the SEC network. Reeves, quick shot. That's no good in Kentucky. Its shooting in the second half has been not good at all. They are 2 for 15. And Quinterly with a blow-by, a little no-look pass, gets away. But you can tell Alabama's having a lot more fun right now, and they're playing that way. Miller inside.
And his speed for a 6'9" kid with the ball is pretty rare. He's turned it up a notch in this half, talking to Reeves going back the other way. I said this is a good opportunity for Brandon Miller to grow up with during the game, and he has.
Yeah, Wheeler knocks that one down, ends a Bama 15-2 run. Miller, yes, sir.
Really
call
good.
That a 2.
Ravi was a side corner empty ball screen that pros will use a lot of, and Miller just showed how good he is at coming off of it, and a jumper on the move.
He's got 14. Shibwe, his first 2 points of the game.
And even that was more of a throw than a shot, wasn't it? Just the intimidation of the length has Oscar off his rhythm the entire ball game.
And you can break it down then what Oscar Shibwe is going to have to do to play at the next level and have success, because they're a lot taller there. Quinterly. That's good.
So good. So good. Javon Quinterly. Screen, re-screen, run off of it with a purpose. A violent cut into a jump shot. Man, this Alabama team capable of going a long ways, if not winning the whole thing.
Alabama, too, Jimmy, has made only 4 3-point field goals all game. Shibwe in traffic, and he'll go to the free throw line to shoot 2. And now Quinterly and Sophia Wheeler are having words, and a technical foul has been assessed, maybe to both. Don Daly has to separate them. Oats has made it an uncomfortable building to come into and play. And right now on the floor, it is terribly uncomfortable for Kentucky.
Watch Brandon Miller work off this step-up ball screen. Now watch Casey Wallace, 22 in blue. Bam, runs right into the screen, melts at the screen. Shibwe doesn't step up, and Brandon Miller with that side step 6'9" release is going to make him a lot of money. I'll say it again. Kentucky offensive efficiency, Ravi, coming into today. They were 17th in the country. That's a good, solid number. Defensive efficiency for Kentucky, they're number 45 in the country. Teams are getting anything they want, anytime they want right now against that Kentucky defense.
Alabama scored 35 in the first half. They have 23 already here in the second half, and we still have more than half of the second to play. That original Miller shot that Jimmy just showed you was ruled a 2. They looked at the monitor and gave him a 3. Rightfully so. Both feet behind the line.
That is the rule.
And then each team was given a technical. Quinterly with the left, so they offset.
Now see what happens when Shibwe drops in that ball screen coverage. He took away the lob to Bediako, but what it does is allows Quinterly to get to the rim.
Javon Quinterly getting healthier and healthier. Is having a terrific game today for Alabama. He's got 12. Tough shot. Toppin fading away. And a good rebound by Livingston. Wheeler throws it up, and it goes in off the window.
Every basket for Kentucky, though, is a tough one, is it
100%.
Not? Every one of them.
You've certainly seen the depth of Alabama today. And Miller trapped down low, and they both left him. And he picks up the rebound, and he's going to have a shot for 3. And Jacob Toppin is heading to the bench. He seems to be hurt.
And what does Alabama not have? Because they start 7 foot 6'10", 6'9". They can pound you on the glass. They got a lottery pick in Brandon Miller, older, experienced guards. And they can. I'm very impressed with Alabama's defensive length, their overall team speed, their urgency that they cover ball screens with. And you can see why they've rattled off the number of wins that they have coming in against only a couple of losses.
4 wins against the top 25. You mentioned the Houston win. They also beat number 1 North Carolina. So they beat 2 number 1s this season and now have a huge 63-37 lead. Miller goes to the bench. A lot more men's college basketball coming up tomorrow afternoon on ESPN. The Big Ten, Ohio State and Maryland at 1 Eastern, and then Houston sitting there at number 2 right now against Cincinnati. Washington and Arizona State can be seen at 5 o'clock as well. But a good chance to watch the Houston Cougars, number 2, in the country, the team that Alabama beat.
And talking about other great freshmen across the country right now, Ohio State has one in Bryce Sensabaugh.
Yeah.
About 6'6", 235. Man, just wired to score. Look at guys, G.G. Jackson from South Carolina. We'll see him on Tuesday in Rupp Arena. Keontae George from Baylor. Grady Dick at Kansas. Guys that are getting it done now. A high level in their first year. And Brandon Miller leads that pack for Alabama, the nation's leading scorer in that freshman class.
Noah Gurley reached in, and they call the foul on Noah.
You know what I appreciate about Brandon Miller, around him today and learning about him, how engaged he is with the student. He loves to go watch the managers play games when the opposing team comes in. He's all about top golf with his teammates. Like, he loves college. He's a very likable guy. He has that it factor that's going to make him a great pro.
Wow, so does that guy. Sears buries a 3. Well, that transfer portal has been so important to teams, and Sears, who transferred in, has been outstanding from Ohio. What an addition. He's got 14 today. And Wheeler on the floor. Look at how aggressive Alabama's being. The tie up there. And it will be Alabama basketball.
Sears is so good, Ravi, at a lot of things, but he's really good at transition threes. You get inside the three-point line with a transition defense, and Sears is just reading it. Where's my defender? Where's the transition defense? Pickup point too low? That's on you. And Sears, nothing but the bottom. What a solid pickup, as you talked about. He's tough, he's physical. He did this against Kentucky last year. Mark Sears is
a little different surrounding cast,
bit, yep.
But he's also different as Reeves throws one up. It goes in off the window.
Even when they score, it looks like by accident. Today. Good pass.
Great pass. There's a contest by Onyenso, who makes some money blocking shots.
You know, no C.J. Frederick again today for Kentucky doesn't help their outside shooting. He hasn't been great this year at it, but he's always a threat when he rises up. Hoping to get him back in the next couple of weeks. What a beatdown right now by Alabama against Kentucky. Top 17, they look like a top 2 team to me. Ravi, here's a question you always ask. Do your guards have command of what you need to do to win the game? Mark Sears has terrific command, not only over his game, but over Alabama's entire game. This kid has not been sped up one time. Kentucky's got athletes, but Sears is so good at surveying the play, surveying the floor, making the right reads. He's a 42% three-point shooter. He's tough inside with a mid-range game. He's guarded his tail off.
Hard hat guy.
He's a hard hat guy, and a great pickup by Nate Oats. But, man, if your guards are clueless in terms of command of what we're trying to do, you've got no shot of winning games.
6 rebounds and 4 assists to go with those numbers. All around great game from Mark Sears. Shibwe back on the bench. See if he comes back into the game. Now that the game is all but put in the books. See what Onyenso does against Clowney. No good. Miller shifted to his left, tips it back up and back in.
He moves like a really good pro, doesn't he? Just smooth and glides. But that big first step, man, is a separator.
Severe Wheeler looked like he could have pulled up and taken a shot.
He got hurt.
That left ankle of his is bothering him. Wallace with the left. That's no good. Tipped up. No. Collins is finally there to put it in. So you look at the largest losses at Kentucky under Cal. 34 they lost to at number 4 Duke in 2018. Their worst SEC loss was 30 points at Tennessee in 2013. This one is starting to get into that territory.
It sure is.
And Sears and Wheeler are going to call Wheeler. Monday night, TCU, Georgia, the defending champs in the College Football Playoff National Championship game presented by AT&T. Coverage starts at 7:30 Eastern Time, 4:30 Pacific on ESPN. You talk about, your guards being in control. I think Stetson Bennett has things under control for Georgia, especially when it comes down to crunch time.
I'm not sure there's been a better winner at that position in college football in a long, long time. That game comes down to the last possession, and Georgia needs points. Stetson Bennett.
He's your guy. You like that?
Well, first of all, the country music name that he brings to the field is, you can't overlook the importance of that. He's the real deal, man. He was deserving of all that Heisman consideration. He took a lot of shots for being there. Come on now. That guy's best quarterback on the best team.
Again, Bediako wins the loose ball battle. Then Collins gets down there. And they're going to call it a jump. And it's going to be Kentucky basketball. Bediako was the first one, though, when that ball hit the floor to go down and get it. Nate Oats did this whole hard hat point thing. We've got a lot to give out today.
Not good news for Kentucky. Jacob Toppin with a shoulder injury and will not return today. It's a physically beat up Kentucky team right now, and mentally, where will they be after this loss?
Miller on a set play, 3-ball, too strong. Livingston launches from the corner, and that's no good. Kentucky, not only have they been defended well, but the open shots haven't fallen, and especially from 3. They're 1 for 9 in the second half. Foul on Kentucky.
Mark Sears has won his one-on-one matchup, but probably 90% of the time in this game. Whether defensively in a one-on-one situation or offensively, he has won his matchup.
You gave that incredible number about Shibwe and the fact that he has out-rebounded his opponent in every game he's played at Kentucky. So is his opponent Bediako today? Because currently Shibwe has 5. Bediako has 4. How do you score that?
Well, no opposing player on the entire team has ever out-rebounded Shibwe, and that's in jeopardy. Shibwe has 5 rebounds right now. Noah Clowney has 6. Mark Sears has 6.
Miller has 6.
Yeah. And Shibwe just was never involved in this game. It started with his lack of ball screen defense and understanding. That's a huge number to overcome by Kentucky, that free throw discrepancy, but it's the right number. A more aggressive team gets the stripe, and that has been Alabama the entire ball game.
Lance Ware is into the game for Kentucky, 55. Collins goes out. We're supposed to see Kentucky on Tuesday as Shibwe gets it down low and he throws it up. And again, Bediako was there just to bother him, and it's quite clear he was bothered. Bradley, no, maybe get some steps on him. An offensive foul they call on. And it was Bediako trying to clear some space for him.
Rev, you're right, though, about the defensive presence of Bediako. He's not coming off of Shibwe. He understands the game plan. Keep your body on Shibwe and then make him score over you. It started on the first possession, and it has not let up. Just make him go over you. Can't do it. Just simply cannot do it.
Sears step back. Place would have erupted had that one dropped. Look at the hands around Shibwe in the paint. Look at the hands around Shibwe. The pull-up, Sears. No good. That is Noah Gurley. Shibwe gets the ball, Jim. It's like he has got honey all over himself, and there's a whole bunch of bees that are swarming around him.
You're right. I mean, 4 white jerseys, and you can get away with it because he has no room to kick it out and no one to kick it out to that can make you pay.
Kentucky needs this clock to pick up pace. Get out of here and regroup. Awfully impressive performance by Alabama today. Sears. No good, loose ball, and it's Adu Thiero who comes up with it. If you look at the conference, Joe Lunardi, Jimmy, in his Final Four predictions for the SEC. Alabama, Arkansas, Tennessee. That's it. You agree with that?
In terms of potential
Final Four teams in the conference.
I would say Arkansas would be in that group if they were 100%. The loss of Trevon Brazile and Nick Smith knocks them down a little bit, but no question on Alabama and Tennessee. Arkansas could still get there. They got a lot of stuff to work with, but that's a big hit. The question is, where does Kentucky go? They were the preseason SEC pick, and one of the top 5 teams in the country to start with. They have fallen out of the polls, and they now leave Tuscaloosa with more questions than answers.
Way more. Got to have a lot of introspection, don't you? A lot of soul searching independently. Call that on Kentucky. 72-43. Nate Oats on his way to evening up his mark against Kentucky at 3-3. Our Sonic Clockbuster continues. How about the plus minus, which I know a lot of the coaches look at, Jimmy? Oscar Shibwe is currently a minus 25.
That's a big number.
Charles Bediako is a plus 33.
Well, this isn't what Oscar has dealt with all day long on both ends. The length and the quickness has just bothered this kid and completely taken him out of the game. He only has 5 rebounds. The streak of him out rebounding every opponent that he's ever gone up against is in great jeopardy. And this Kentucky team came in with a little bit of mojo, a little bit of momentum, and they have gone 2, 3, 4 step backwards. Got the Toppin shoulder injury right now.
And look, it's very easy when you look at the box score and you say, I don't get it. Kentucky 4 of 6 from the free throw line. Alabama 18 of 25. So they've taken 19 more free throws, and right away you'd say, well, that doesn't, like, how does that add up?
But watch the game.
Yeah.
I mean, the speed of Alabama getting in the paint was a problem for Kentucky. The length of Alabama on the glass was where a lot of those fouls came from as well. Just plays when the ball were above the rim. Severe Wheeler 7 out of 15 from the floor in this game. The only offense Kentucky has is feel good about. The rest of the 4 starters today, 4 for 33. 4 for 33, the other 4 starters for the team in blue.
You know, one of the obvious questions is, so you're Calipari and his staff, what's the message? How do you get him back on?
You got to watch this tape, and you got to talk about what bothered us, and start with asking Oscar Shibwe, what were we doing on our ball screen defense to start the game? What were we supposed to do, and what were you doing? Because it quickly became unraveled for Kentucky in this game. They hung in there for a while, but they're, like I said in the second half, Rabbi, even when they score, it just looks like it's so hard, and now they've let go of the defensive rope in the second half.
Bruiser Flint, Coach Cal, Orlando Antigua, the entire staff. Sitting there with a lot, as you said, more questions than answers. A lot more men's college hoops tomorrow afternoon on ESPN. The Big Ten, number 24, Ohio State goes to Maryland. Maryland out of the rankings. That's at 1 o'clock Eastern time. Some AAC action as Houston takes on Cincinnati. AAC's got some very good deep teams. You know, we talked about Lunardi in the SEC with potential Final Four candidates. The University of Connecticut bounced back today with a victory over Creighton. And they've been a top 1, 2, 3, 4 team all season long.
Yeah, they're going to be fine, Creighton. I know UConn. They've got everything you're looking for. That combination of Snogo and Klingen on the inside can handle anyone in college ball. And you're going to have a at-the-rim presence to win it this year with all the good bigs across the country. Arizona comes to mind with Tabellis and Ballo. This Alabama team now, Ravi, they can hang with anybody with that size that you got to have at that 5 spot, and the athletes to block shots and clean up the glass.
Miller is on the bench, and he'll likely stay there. He's got 19 points, so after what was a quiet first half, he ended up with 19, and there's another block for Alabama down low.
The other thing about that free throw discrepancy, who for Kentucky can put pressure on you defensively that is a foulable guy?
Long three, bottom. Rylan Griffin, the freshman, steps into it out of Dallas, Texas.
Alabama came in making 10 3-point shots per game, attempting 28.
Wheeler just fired it up there, and no contest from Kentucky as we hit the 1 minute mark.
What did you say, 31 points is the biggest SEC loss?
Watch it. They threw the lob up there, and from behind came a do. Otherwise, it would have been a thunderous slam. 34 was to Duke. Yes, 30 in the SEC to Tennessee, and we are right on the line. Nick Pringle, who was one of the best junior college players, Dodge City Community College. Hasn't played very much. Good rebounder. When he does shoot, he makes them. He's 14 of 15 from the field when he's in. The free throw was not close.
Ravi, the one area that Alabama has to continue to get better is that turnover margin, and only 9 turnovers a day by the Crimson Tide is a really good winning number.
Reeves hits a 3 right in front of the Kentucky bench, and
it's going to be interesting to see the direction that Kentucky goes from here. And I got what should be a winnable game Tuesday night, but these kind of losses can sometimes really knock you back. And wow, just wide open, back off.
Rylan Griffin just saying to Nate Oats, I'm looking for some minutes here.
Well, you can talk about what Kentucky didn't do. I'm going to talk a whole lot about what Alabama did do. They are the real deal. We said it in the open. They own the best win in all of college ball so far this year with their true road win at Houston. They have everything that you're looking for in a potential SEC champion, if not a potential national champion.
Count the basket for Kentucky. It doesn't matter. No matter how you went into this game, it ended up being as one-sided as we've seen a Kentucky game be, with them on the losing side. Nate Oats and company are looking forward to the rest of this SEC season. For Jimmy Dykes, Carl Ravitch saying so long from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Kevin Connors is in the studio.